At this point, it is almost impossible to see Israel as anything other than a cartoonishly evil supervillain, because last night they cut off the last telecommunications to the Gaza Strip, and after this they intensified their bombing and effectively begun their ground invasion. So we don't actually know what they're doing in Gaza, and the people who live there are being psychologically tortured because their families who live in the north of the Gaza Strip, well, they can't communicate with them. They don't know if they're dead, whilst Israel is raining hellfire upon them. This is abhorrent, and any person who has made any excuse for the state of Israel should realize that Palestinian blood soaks your hands. Our country is covered in it, and we will never be able to recover from this until we hold the state of Israel and all of the people who supported their genocide accountable. The most terrifying part about what Israel is doing right now is that in the 1980s, they had a member of the Knesset called Rabbi Meir Kahane. Now, Meir Kahane was banned from running in the Israeli Knesset. Eventually, his organization was outlawed as a terrorist movement because they'd killed so many innocent human beings, and their general behavior was abhorrent. He believed in slavery for Palestinians, and also he believed that intermarriage should be illegal. However, Kahane said something in the 1990s that is incredibly terrifying. Now, at this time, Palestinians were resisting the state of Israel, largely non-violently, during the First Intifada. And Kahane said that he should be made the defense minister, and what he would do is remove all of the journalists from the West Bank and give the IDF 2 days to do whatever the hell they wanted, and everything would be fine. There would be no resistance. And we are literally seeing this happen right now. The funny thing about Meir Kahane and the far right in Israel is that Zionists and Israelis will dismiss them as fringe bigots who don't have any influence, who don't represent the state of Israel. But what we're seeing right now is the most pornographic, racist fantasies of Meir Kahane brought to life by the state of Israel with their green light from the United States and the UK to commit genocide against the Palestinian people.
I think this is really important information for everyone to understand. Right now, I'm taking a break from an emergency room where I have access to electricity to turn the lights on. I have access to medications, pain medication to treat those in need. I have access to antibiotics to treat infections. I have access to water to drink and to use to clean off wounds. Little to none of this is available to the doctors, the nurses, the medical providers right now in Gaza who are attempting to treat and help the more than 2 million people at risk in one of the most densely populated areas on this planet. 3 days ago, Doctors Without Borders, an international humanitarian agency, showed a video on their social media of a young boy under slight sedation getting his foot amputated. He was awake and getting his foot amputated. According to the UN humanitarian agency, less than 4% of Gaza's emergent needs have been met. There are surgeries being done in hallways being lit by the batteries left in cellular phones. The United Nations Population Fund estimates that at least 50,000 pregnant women exist within Gaza, women delivering babies without any assistance. No access to running water, limited to no access to sanitation. There is exposure to raw sewage. There is exposure to the decomposing bodies for which there is no fuel to refrigerate and store them, setting up the perfect nightmare for the spread of infectious diseases like cholera, dysentery, polio, for which there is no treatment available. Today, the Palestinian telecom provider announced that Gaza is officially without internet. Millions of people without the ability to express the horrific atrocities that are going on right now to the global community, which is why it is of utmost importance that you continue to share, reshare, uplift the voices that continue to share these stories to help educate. Information is power. I'm going to collect organizations that I think are helpful and beneficial to provide assistance to, but I think voices are forever important. I don't know how else to describe this horrific nightmare. I'm going to get back to work and come back with more information, if any, that I gather. Talk soon.
It's official. Gaza is completely cut off from communicating with the outside world. The last standing internet provider in Gaza has made an announcement that their services have finally been completely cut off by Israeli bombardment. What this means is that we will be unable to see what's going on in Gaza from the Palestinian people. And now Israel is going to go into Gaza very soon. This is exactly what I said would happen. They're waiting to cut off the internet access to the Palestinians there so the world can't hear what's going on, and then they will invade.
There's only one internet provider that's holding this whole thing together. I'll tell. Once they fall, Israel will make their move. I promise you.
Now the ball's in Israel's court. They're going to invade, exactly as I said. I know I'm wearing the same shirt as I did in that video a week ago, but it's from a week ago, you can go check. They don't want us to be able to see what they're doing in Gaza. They don't want us to see the dead kids, the blown up buildings, the hospitals overrun. They are invading Gaza in complete radio silence.
This is what's right now happening in Gaza after they cut off all kind of communications. They are bombing it with really heavy airstrikes from sea, ground, air. They are completely wiping the shit out of it. We need to do something. This is not something you can just skip by, guys.
This is urgent. Israel has now done a complete blackout of Gaza's internet. They bombed the remaining towers that made the people of Gaza being able to reach out to not only one another, but the international community as well. Al Jazeera is barely working, and it's because that they are run off satellites. An Al Jazeera correspondent in Gaza said, "Please guys, if you can hear us, send the message to the world. We are isolated now in Gaza. Again, guys, if you can hear us, we are isolated. We don't have phone signals or tech connections." And while this blackout is happening, Israel is bombing Gaza more than ever before. They are now trying to commit this genocide in darkness. Israeli officials have also been talking about bombing Al-Shifa hospital all day. This hospital is not only caring to patients, but is also housing thousands upon thousands of Palestinians. Many journalists that we're seeing online reporting are also housing around the hospital. People cannot even contact ambulances to tell them where they are. This is terrifying and this is horrific. Every country around the world is watching this genocide happen and is doing absolutely nothing. The world has failed the people of Gaza. We are watching a genocide happen in real time and are not doing anything about it.
الإسلام يستغيثون بكم أن تدعوا ربكم أن ينصرهم الصلاة جامعة.
No matter what happens between Israel and Palestine, the Palestinian people already won. Now they just cut off internet access to the Gaza Strip because they're trying to prevent this from coming out. Now Israel was trying to create the Rat King in Gaza, but it actually backfired and created one in Israel. And for those who don't know what the Rat King is, it's a story about whenever you throw rats in a pit and they end up eating each other, and then the Rat King ends up eating all the other rats. Now, I always knew the Palestinian people were protected by Allah, but I didn't quite understand what was going to come about this. Now, the first reason why Palestine has already won this is because they've exposed the truth. The entire planet sees the darkness surrounding Israel and the actions they do. Now, we have a handful of people that are pulling the wool over their eyes and pretending like this isn't the case, but it blatantly is. But this situation told us who is too far into the dark and who isn't. When you see people publicly defending Israel right now, you can see what they stand for and the actions that they are okay with happening. But whenever you see people standing with Palestine, you see a united front. There are multiple videos, ones that I for some reason can't post here, where it shows Jewish people getting arrested standing for Palestine. The fact that Israel's own people are sitting in jail right now because they went against their own people is amazing. Because it tells us that there is signs of the Rat King within Israel. I know for a fact that there is somebody high-ranking, high up within Israel's politics not standing for the bullshit that's going on today. That there is a Rat King within Israel's government right now, and he's taking down all the other rats.